The Meteora are enormous residual masses of sandstone and conglomerate, which appeared through fluvial erosion during the Tertiary period. Seismic activity increased the number of fault lines and fissures and hewed the shapeless masses into individual sheer rock columns. The rocks are up to 600 meters above sea level. The monasteries of Meteora, built upon these rocks, offer one of the world's most spectacular sacred sites. Meteora captures the imagination on so many levels: natural, religious, and cultural. In a region of almost inaccessible sandstone peaks, Orthodox monks settled on these columns in the sky from the 11th century onwards. This place at the top of the highest rocks, between heaven and earth, has been chosen by many hermits to live and be closer to God for the rest of their lives. They renounced worldly goods and devoted themselves to prayers and spiritual concentration. According to experts, the first hermits must have taken refuge in these rocks sometime around the end of the first millennium. The earliest Christians appear to have lived as hermits with a solitary existence or in separate communities. Early Christian monasticism developed out of asceticism. Hermits have the practice of renunciation of the comforts of society and a life of austere self-discipline and self-denial. Monks who lived in caves within the rocks during the 11th century originally settled the area. But as the times became more unsure during the time of Turkish occupation, brigandry and lawlessness, they climbed higher and higher up the rock face until they were living on the inaccessible peaks, where they were able to build by bringing material and people up with ladders and baskets, and build the first monasteries. Meteora is characterized by its 24 churches, placed on the facade or on the top of huge rock formations, which in the past made them almost inaccessible. Meteora captures one's interest on so many levels, it's impossible to focus only on one aspect, no matter how imposing it might be. In this place, geoforming has been amalgamating with the spiritual quest of humans for many centuries. Monasteries occupy many of the rocky terraces, most of which were built during the Byzantine era and have changed little over the centuries. They're the dwellings of monks who found in Meteora a sanctuary that isolates them from everyday life, a protected refuge from danger, and above all, a vehicle that delivers one closer to the heavens. The monastery of the Holy Trinity, founded by the monk Domitius in the 15th century, is probably the most dramatically positioned of the Meteora monasteries. Perched atop a slender pinnacle and accessible only by 140 steep steps, its isolated position makes it one of the most peaceful monasteries as well. The Meteora provide an astounding example of the types of monastic construction which illustrate a significant stage in history, that of the 14th and 15th centuries, when the Hermetic ideals of early Christianity were restored to a place of honor by monastic communities, both in the Western world and in the Orthodox Church. The Rusonu Monastery stands on a low rock. The monastery covers the entire surface of the rock. The monasteries represent a unique example of monastic life against the backdrop of superlative natural phenomena since the 14th century. The Holy Monastery of Varlam is a male monastery which was named after a monk called Varlam, who lived in a closed cave as a hermit in the 14th century and built a tiny chapel on top of a huge rock. The monastery can be accessed by a narrow bridge that runs from the main road and a series of 195 stairs. Meteora is not just a mass of rocks, but the shapes and the space that are woven around them. Meteora is the agent that makes us aware of incredible natural processes, of what's below the Earth's surface, of time and the sky above. It's that rare moment where time becomes eternal, and where a human can feel simultaneously so small and so great, so much of the earth and so much of the sky.